Hello and a warm welcome to the Energy Nexus podcast series. If you don't know by now, we are on the sidelines of the Namibia International Energy Conference for 2026. This is where critical conversations are taking place around the evolution, the growth, and the journey to first oil and beyond. We're no longer discussing discoveries, but how we propel Namibia as an economy that can really become an energy powerhouse within Southern Africa. As you can imagine, this has been a long time coming and a journey that has gone from strength to strength and progressed. One person who has been instrumental to a gathering like this, the Namibia International Energy Conference, is the founder of RichAfrica Consulting, Selma Shimutwikeni, who joins us to give us some insight and reflections on just the conference, but also much more that is developing outside of Namibia's energy space. Selma, such a pleasure to have you. Excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Now, for those who might be watching, there's a hive of activity that's happening around us,
Yes.
right? There's a session on the sidelines. We're in the exhibition center. We've got our colleagues as well engaging and networking. When you first conceptualized the Namibia International Energy Conference, is this what came to mind? Because it's in its 8th iteration now.
Yes.
And I'm just keen to get your reflections on the growth and the evolution of this gathering.
Oh wow. I don't know if this is what I imagined,
Yeah.
but what was at the heart of starting it used to be called Namibia International Oil and Gas Conference actually, and so because the conference looks at the whole entire value chain, we thought it was really appropriate for it to be called Namibia International Energy Conference, which we rebranded in 2021. Initially, when I came up with the concept, I think thought leadership was at the heart of the idea. I specialize in natural resources law and policy.
Yes.
And I was always very curious how Africa is rich yet so poor. It didn't really make sense. So I went on an academic journey to try and get answers to that question. And I thought it was very important for Africa and Namibia to have platforms that are driven by Africans to discuss our resources together with our partners, which is the investors, the wider society, to figure out how do we unlock value for the greater benefit, not just Namibia, but of everyone who's invested in our resources.
Definitely. And since then, there have been discovery after discovery after discovery. If I'm not mistaken, 45, which was shared by S&P Global as the knowledge partner to the conference. I'm quite keen to understand, how you view progress to look like, especially given that now Namibia sits at a turning point where it's no longer about discoveries, but really going to first oil and beyond. Successfully, what would that look like in your view?
Yeah. Well, I believe that we have entered into a new phase of the Namibian energy journey. For the longest time, it was the road to discovery because we actually only had the Kudu gas discovery. So when in 2012, everyone is like, what are you talking about? What oil and gas in Namibia? So we've been on the journey to discovery, and now we've entered a new phase where we've had discoveries. I believe we'll have more discoveries. However, now the conversation has shifted to how do we get into development and to ultimately get to production. So I think what's important is the journey aspect of it. To say that it will not happen tomorrow. It is a
Yes.
process, and that's very important. Just to manage expectations, it's important for everyone to get ready, whether it's the countryside, in terms of government, in terms of the people, and also for the investors to share experiences on what it takes to get to production. And there's a couple of things that we have to have in place to get there.
Yeah. Speaking about what we need to get in place, Sama, you've had the opportunity to look at best case scenarios across the world. You've also seen some economies get it wrong. I'm quite keen to understand, when you take a look at what will drive Namibia's success in the energy space, how critical partnerships, local content, and a real level of alignment in terms of policy, how critical is that to unlock the full
Yeah.
potential?
Well, I think definitely it's all about intention. Every nation that has succeeded was very intentional about, what they wanted to achieve. So you kind of look at the end
Yes.
at the beginning and then
Yes.
work backwards. And usually the intention is spelled out in our policies. And our national energy policy, which I had the privilege to work on many years ago, they actually have a clause around managing the future. So it starts off as in the event of a discovery, Namibia will have local content, create a sovereign wealth fund, look at energy security in terms of a refinery, etc. So the policy of every country is what spells out the intentionality. And then I think what's also very important is to note that, this is a capital intensive industry, high risk, technological intensive in that sense. So we do need partners or companies with deep pockets who have experience that we can partner with as a country to unlock the value. And then you mentioned local content, and I think that is what is on the mind of every Namibian. And local content just speaks to how do Namibian companies, how do Namibian people participate in the industry, and how
And
do they
let's talk about
prepare
that
to
deeper.
participate in the industry.
100%. I'm keen for us just to highlight that even further because there's a number of people who are gathered here. There are chief executives, managing directors, policymakers, people in big positions. But for the average Namibian, understanding the heart, the history of the people of the land of the brave, how should they reimagine the opportunities in the energy space and how they can participate in them?
No, that's a great question. I think the most important thing is to understand that this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for economic transformation that can change the livelihoods of Namibia.
Okay.
I always say we're in this beautiful venue at this beautiful conference. However, there are people that live outside these walls, and the conversations and dialogues are to benefit every single Namibian, but at the same time benefit the investors who are putting a lot of money to be here, and also to safeguard our environment, which is
Yes.
very, very important. And I think we need to. It's collaboration is the key to success in this industry. Partnership, and of course, I think dialogue and convening to discuss, hard issues. Because I mean there are hard issues like everything else in the world, right?
Yes.
But I believe if you bring people together, experts together, leaders together, everyone can showcase or share their perspective and insights and positions, and find the middle ground.
100%. I can't let you go without reflecting on where we are and the bold conversations that will be taking place literally over the next 3 days. As we conclude the conference towards mid April, after the 16th, how do you hope it moves us further into truly unlocking Namibia's energy potential?
Yes. I mean, we're definitely at a critical point in our energy journey as a country. So the conversation is, how do we get to first oil? Because that is definitely the next step. So, I've gathered great minds from Namibia, from the continent, from outside the continent, to share experiences. I don't believe in the copy and paste approach. I believe that we have an opportunity to leverage other countries' experiences, but also tailor it to Namibia's uniqueness. And we've a thriving economy, and I'm a believer. I mean, we just had a session on S&P Global where they spoke a lot about economic diversification.
Yes.
So, the idea is that the revenue is going to come from this industry, is going to be channeled into other sectors, for economic transformation, not to abandon other sectors
Yes.
and focus on the oil and gas industry. And then also there's a conversation around energy mix because we don't want to be reliant only on one resource. Namibia is blessed, with the sun.
Yes. Oh, the
So
sun,
solar
the
energy,
wind.
renewable energy,
Exactly.
and then also not only that, it's not only about Namibia. It's also about regional integration, regional collaboration. Because if we get it right, we can contribute to the energy security challenge in the region. I mean, it's global,
Oh,
anyways,
yeah.
right? So collaboration, looking at Angola, collaboration with South Africa, other nations, Brazil, for example. So I think, in terms of by the end of this conference, I would like to see, kind of like a clear way forward. Like kind of like, okay, this is where we are. This is what we need to do. Whether
Yes.
it's infrastructure readiness, whether it's how to finance local companies, how do we build human capital. So kind of more like a roadmap. Kind of like these are the things we have to have in place so that every stakeholder can go and work on those areas. I think one of the things that was mentioned was the importance of time.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have an opportunity, we have a window, we have to be decisive, and we have to do it through collaboration.
100%.
Yes.
Salma, always exciting speaking to you. And thank you for creating, crafting, and curating an event that gathers so many global leaders to really fully unlock the potential of Namibia's energy capacity. Such a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, as you've heard it from the founder and CEO of RichAfrica Consulting, Selma Shimutwikeni, joining us today to give us a lot more insight here at the Nexus Energy podcast series on the sidelines of the Namibian International Energy Conference. Share your views, get in touch, let us know what your thoughts are, and most importantly, if you're not here, make sure you follow on the updates on social media, but also visit the website to make sure you get as much information and data as possible to keep you aware of the phenomenal opportunity that exists in Namibia and beyond.
Thank you.
You happy?
Yeah.